The flu, some call it the H3N3, however I have heard others call it the hospitalizer. Strangely, it has secretly sneaked into our lives. Most recently, we discovered that it was remapping our DNA, charging it for some sinister purpose. All signs lead to it was changing us or preparing us for things to come. Days after the infected started to walk the earth, as the fears and worries grew, so did the human curiously, the wonder of why it was as strong or crafty as the 1919 virus or Spanish flu. The hospitalizer, as it was called, rode in on bits of comets, tiny fragments that suddenly lit up the night sky. Dust from these tiny fragments peppered the inhabitants of the earth, unaware of the evil that fell from the sky or traveled from a forgotten galaxies, which the tribe of men have never seen. Many summers ago, I was told about a blue star, which traveled on the back of fear itself. One chief of an Indian nation warned us of this visit, warned the blue star would rain light, tiny particles of light down on humanity. He said when the meteors streaked across the sky, people would watch and laugh, just as the sky people did in the past, unaware of the secret invaders that fell to the ground, or of the tiny devils they would create. It first infected the rats, the little ones. This was the first strike against us as a race. Night after night their little red eyes would judge us as we set traps and set out poison food. When I say this was our first strike, we were unaware that they, the little ones, would be our jury. They would have the ability to save us or charge us. The red-eyed nightmares would seek out revenge by marking their territory, spreading the virus. This caused the virus to spread faster than we have ever seen. Chew, chew, chew. That's all the little ones do. At night, they sneak around and watch with their little red eyes. In New York, late at night you would hear screams echo from the manholes and old subway tunnels. After the screams died down, and if you listened real close, you could hear chew, chew, chew. Or so that is what the old man told me. I often wonder about the homeless that lived down in the caves, sewers, and derelict subways of New York. The 100s of missing people that can't be found. I met a guy on the subway once. He called himself a servant of the Rat King. He told me that the tunnels went on for days and deep underground, and even pulled out an old newspaper. I wondered why I hadn't heard more about what I saw. On the dirty black and white pages, I saw a story that would shock any top dweller. Apparently, a team that was building a new subway tunnel made an amazing find. Deep underground they found an ancient forest, tree roots and all. The dirty old man pointed and said there are many places like this that lurk underground. You top dwellers are lost in your things, your silly things. It's a breeding ground down there, and she is coming for the flesh. She has sent the little ones to mark the ground she will take. As I stepped off the bus, a line of rats watched me. They looked at me if I was on trial, and they were my jury. And whomever she is, she must be our judge. The old man leaped across the doorway, saying, "Do you want to see something cool? Come with us." Leading the way, the man hopped down onto the subway platform, and each of the rats marched right behind him. Looking up at me, he shouted, "Are you coming?" I managed to get down on the platform. "Mister, watch your step, those bars there will kill you. Step as I do, or the rats." I don't know if it was curiosity or something was drawing me down the subway lines, but I followed like one of the rats. It was just past the 1-mile mark when the leader of the rats pointed to a door. I discovered the shelter of forgotten things many years ago. This is where I live. As I entered the old steel door, high walls crowned with big cursive loops of barbed wire, little candles burned on the ground, beside people whom appeared to be asleep. The old man pointed at a strange carving of a rat-like creature with a grubby, long-nailed finger. We made our way through a network of silent, worn-out tunnels whose asphalt had faded to the color of dirty dishwater. Along the wall was a ragged hole in the chain-link network of old ropes and wires sliding through, and just ahead of the long tunnel I saw creatures. They were huddled around a larger life form. It reminded me of a 5-bladed claw machine, used to rip and pull apart cars in a junkyard, its black pedals semi-constricted around some invisible load. The black arm that suspended the claw in midair had 3 joints, bone and tissue wrapped around its massive joints, and it bent this way and that, disappearing into a massive hulk of what looked like trash and bones. Elongated humps of debris hugged against each wall, glittering with broken glass and the sparkly guts of wired things, bloody things. I shook my head, trying to clear the image from my mind. My brain was always coming up with stuff like this. Sometimes I would find the time to write about it or talk with others about it. The tunnel and the opening went dark. Fear overpowered me. I turned quickly, moving and squirming out of the hole, and began running back to where my journey had first started. I could hear the old man behind me, saying, "You have seen her tower, her home, she will come for you." As I ran up the subway stairs, I tripped over an old man's legs who must have passed out from drinking. Falling on my side, the man's head fell off his shoulders. Popping out of the headless man, a black rat with tiny red eyes stared me down, and it quickly struggled out of the hole of the dead man's body, jumping on my chest. Covered in the drunk's blood, it bit me on the neck. Everything went black. I was taken to a strange land. I saw the creature, which I had seen in the subway tunnel. She was lashed to a cross, a fire blazing beneath her. I was being led away by soldier. I was strong enough to be more than a slave, cleverer. The creature said something to me as I was being led away. Images flooded my mind. I seen the creature as she fought against her betters. She tried to resist the order of her master. She'd helped others do the same, helped others deny the empire new blood. When she was caught trying to do the same to me, she was punished for it. She was turned into what she is now, an abomination. The rats hold her as a martyr, whisper her name in hushed tones around the fire. They make her out to be some mystical spirit, almost a goddess, but she was just filth from a forgotten place. She whispered darkness in my ears, and fed my mind, saying I am a true citizen, but those words, those confounded words she spoke to me when I was taken away. I can't remember them, but the idea of them eats at me, just as the rats chew on their food. When I stare into the distance I can almost hear them, and I feel sickened. Days later I awoke in a hospital. Nurses hovered over me. "Boy, you were a mess," one of the nurses said. Getting up from the hospital bed, I made my way to the bathroom mirror. As I turned to the mirror and pulled off my glasses, I looked into my eyes and bright red eyes shone back at me before I looked back at the doctor, his pointy hair-covered ears twitching. The door then opened behind us as the doctor launched into an explanation of what happened as the nurse came up behind me saying, "This new flu is a hell of a thing.